Here are 10 reasons why you suck at piano. Let's get into it. Number one is you do not practice with your hands separately. You just get a new piece, you sit down, and you try to just with both hands, right? And then you're like, this shit is too hard. Well, let me give you an example of a student that I was teaching. We were working on this. And the hands were uneven. It was more like it was more like that, right? So how does Mr. Daniel, the music professor, prescribe? I said, practice with your hands separately. Specifically, submit me a video of you playing just the right hand. She did so, and it worked. Okay, so make sure that you're going to practice with just one hand and one hand at a time, then put it together. However, of course, there are some music where that is impossible to do, essentially, because the hands are kind of blending together. But if you're at that point and you're playing that kind of music, you're probably already advanced enough to already know to practice with your hands separate. So let's go to the next slide. Number two, you practice too fast, right? I'll give you an example of mine. I play this piece. I love playing this piece. But there's a passage right here that I don't even have down yet because every time I go here, I always play it too fast and I can never get it right. I always go like this. You can see my technique in the right hand is not quite there. Let me see. It's supposed to be this. You can see my coordination is struggling, right? We will touch on other ways. So why don't I just fix it? Well, because I'm not doing the next thing. I have not done it, right? I sometimes don't practice what I preach. Sometimes people don't practice what they preach, but you should do what I'm saying because listen, stay tuned for the next one. So make sure that when you're practicing things, I need to be doing this. I need to make sure I'm going first with one hand. Too fast. Slow it down like this, right? Slow it down. You get the idea. Then put it together, right? So let's put the next reason. You don't push yourself to learn. So why, if I know everything, if I know what to do, how come I haven't done it? Well, I haven't been pushing myself to learn. You need to push yourself to learn. You need to have this drive to sit down, find motivation to go, okay, I'm going to today do some repetitions, right? You need to push yourself to learn. That's another reason. Next one is you have no discipline. You don't push yourself. You have no motivation. And you have no discipline. So you need to have discipline. Every single day, you need to sit down and dedicate yourself to do this. So, Daniel, how come you're not doing it? You don't have any discipline. Well, I'm not currently trying to be improving at piano right now. I'm working on making content. I have a piano store that I'm working on. I'm working on fitness, trying to lose weight. I'm working on all kinds of other disciplines at this point. So you need to get your priorities in straight. If you want to learn piano, you need to actually put that on your priority list and say, I am going to be improving at piano. And I'm going to commit to this, and I'm going to have discipline. There's no other way to do it. There's no magical pill you can take. I mean, if you just subscribe to me, it's basically a magical pill, but that's it. So you have no discipline and you have no drive. So how do you find that? Well, there's hundreds of ways you need to do that. Search on Google. How can I find discipline? How can I find motivation? I'm not here to motivate you. I'm just telling you that you need discipline and motivation to do that. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. You don't have any musical talent. Some people are just born for piano. And if you're finding that if you have discipline, I'm just kidding. So basically what I mean by you have no musical talent, I was making a joke here. But by talent, I mean you have no musical ear. Your ear is not developed. Like if I play a note on the piano here, and I tell you to sing this note, and you're not sure, and you're like, oh shit. Is that it? Yeah, that's a problem, okay? If you don't have a musical ear, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to play the piano. I'm going to break some bad news to you. Okay, so maybe I'm just not cut out for it. And that's not true. What you need to do is ear training and ear development. You need to have ear training. So find an ear training course. Go and find an ear training course. Or if you don't have any money, look on Google. How can I train my ear? There's lots of free resources out there. Find a music teacher. If you're near me, find me. Come to my studio. I will teach you how to sing in tune. I will teach you how to have an ear. You need to have, that's why people from musical families tend to be musical, because they're all kind of singing all the time, right? If you're 23 years old and all of a sudden you want to play the piano, but you've never had any musical experience, what, is it harder for you because you're too young? No, it's just because you never developed your ear. However, I have a friend who's never played the piano. He's actually 29, right? He just started and he's already tearing it up. He's already tearing it up. Why? Because he can sing. So he has a musical ear, so he knows what to listen for. So you need to develop your ear. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Boom. You only practice. You don't actually. You don't practice. You only play. So what that means is that let's say, okay, I want to practice the piano. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play through my favorite piece. I'll put it on here. Why not? Right? Did you hear those little mistakes I did? Yeah? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't. I'm pretty sure half of you didn't, because that's just the reality. Side note, most people can't even hear if you make a mistake, so don't worry about it. You just sit down and you play your pieces and you go, wow, that was a good session. Maybe you practice for a second, but that was it. No, practice needs to be deliberate. Practice needs to be actually working on something, not just playing, right? You can hear all the great masters, violinists, pianists say, 5 minutes of focus practice is better than 2 hours of just playing, right? Every musician suffers from this at the highest level. I've heard Nari Soul, one of the best piano composers, YouTubers out there, say, I wasted an hour when I could have gotten this done in 5 minutes, right? So even the top musicians follow from this. So as a beginner, you want to avoid this as much as possible, because you want to get good fast. You don't want to sit there, right? Us at the top, I'm not at the top. No, I'm at the top. Okay, boom. I don't know. Us at the top, no. People that can play already, right? We already have so much like music already, so we're not like worried about I need to get better, right? We're mostly worried about learning repertoire. But if you're just trying to get better, like don't just play. Of course you need to play, but you don't want to just waste so much time just playing and not practicing. Okay, next one. Bam. Your piano is out of tune or not working right, right? This is so important. If your piano sounds like bad, I was gonna say a bad word. If your piano sounds terrible, right? If you go to play a C major scale and it sounds more like this, right? That's gonna be a problem, because you're not gonna want to practice. So this is actually a factor. You need to make sure you call your piano tuner and pay the money. Piano is not for poor people. You need to tune your piano. No, I'm just kidding. If you can't afford a tuner, learn how to tune your own piano. It's like get a freaking little wrench and tune your own piano. It's not gonna be perfect, but it'll be a little bit better, right? Or maybe if you have a real piano but you can't afford a tuner, maybe you got to sell your piano and get a digital piano, right? Be smart. You got to use your mind, right? We're musicians, okay? Or it might not be working right. Maybe you have sticking keys, right? Learn how to take apart your piano and take a vacuum and clean it up and put your action back and clean. Piano is a very technical instrument, right? It's a lot of moving parts. Call your piano technician, tuner, put aside $500. And have your piano tuner just come out and say, I got $500. I need you to tune my piano. I need you to clean it up. I need you to do the best you can, right? And you're most likely more happy to work with you, right? So make sure your instrument is working correctly, all right? Let's get the next one. You're not subscribed to me. You need to subscribe to me, because I am the best teacher on YouTube. I am the only teacher you need to listen to. Trust me. Everybody else, they're too extra. No, I'm just kidding. Subscribe to all kinds of different YouTubers. Subscribe to me. Subscribe to all these great YouTubers, and spend time learning music and listen to music, right? Listen to more music. What's next? You don't know how to practice. Now, I'm going to try not to ramble too much, but there are so many different practicing techniques. But the one practicing technique that you need to learn or understand, it's not even a technique. It's a philosophy of practice. I'm going to stand up for this. I'm just kidding. I'm a little bit tall. Okay, no. You need to learn this philosophy of how to practice. Practicing is repeating the same thing over and over again over multiple days. Write that down. Practicing is repeating the same thing correctly. I forgot to notice that. Repeat the same thing correctly over and over again through multiple days. There's probably a better way to phrase that, but that's basically it. So why? If you ask yourself a question, if you disagree with me and say, no, I want to repeat the same thing incorrectly over multiple days, it's not going to work. Or you might say, this is too simple. There's no way that's how that works. If I play Chopin Fantasy in A minor and I repeat the same notes slowly, correctly over multiple days, there's no way that will work. You sound stupid. Of course it will work. You can take literally a 5-year-old, and if you can teach him how to properly execute the right hand of the Chopin Fantasy, the thing where you're like, I can't even play it, never learned it. I could play it if I learned it, but I never did, right? If you could teach him how to just correctly execute that over multiple days, that's how you get those Chinese prodigies. Okay? Doesn't have to be Chinese. It can be any Asian. Any person. Not any race, okay? We're not going to hate on the Asians. But Asians have, come on, discipline. How do we go to the next one? Oh, I got stuck. Oh, is that it? Oh, I should have segued it. They have discipline. For some reason, certain cultures have more discipline than others, right? Us in America, we're lazy. Do you have anything cringe in my tabs? No. Us Americans are lazy. We want things handed to us. We want things fast, now, easy, fast food. Right? That's basically it, right? If all these, let's review it again. What is it? Let's show a slideshow. What is all that? This is why it's because you don't practice with hands separately. You practice too fast. You don't push yourself to learn. You have no discipline. You have no musical talent. You don't practice. Your piano is out of tune or not working right. You're not subscribed to me, and you don't know how to practice. So what does it all boil down to? It all boils down to practice, doesn't it? And if you think about practice with one hand, that is a practice technique. So every musician needs to have these things: a toolbox of techniques on how to practice certain passages, discipline, and musical talent. You need those things. Musical talent is a really good ear. That's what it is. I don't have a good ear. You can learn to have a good ear. You can learn anything. Our minds can do anything. Okay? You can learn to have a good ear. It's easier for kids to do that because they've never heard anything. So what they're hearing is obviously all they know, right? So we need to pay attention and learn to things. So find a teacher and do ear training. Like, for example, I could teach you one thing right now. Listen to this. There is a note. Congratulations. All right. That's all I got for you, scallywags, today. What should my next video be about? It should be about how to pull bitches.